Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's pre-market analysis. So let's start it at 8:45. Hello, guys. Good morning. So welcome to today's pre-market analysis. So we will start the live sessions now. So I'll just open the Nifty chart. Okay, so these are the levels we have analyzed yesterday. So as you can see that we have analyzed that 24 breaking, giving a breaking out about 24,950 would like lead to that bullish trend itself. So confirmation was on the line at 24,950. So you can see that after that particular breakout at 24,950, it gave that potential bullish strength for the Nifty 50, and you can see that the psychological level at 25,000 were being broken in the initial hour itself. So after that, we have zoned it out to the bullish zone, which is in green color. So these zone in the gray was our range bound area. So obviously this red one was the bearish zone. So yesterday's our view was bullish. So for a confirmation, we have marked this level at 24,950 as the confirmation bullish line yesterday. So let's focus on today's Nifty. So let us clear this out. For those who are new to our live, so every day we are conducting this pre-market analysis starting at 8:45. We can join. So I'll explain this chart pattern once again. This is actually a symmetrical triangle pattern which Nifty was having from the past May or June session. So you can see that Nifty had this pattern very clearly. Respecting each higher and lower end. So you can clearly see that we got a bounce back from this 24,600, which was a strong support, considered as a strong support. So we got a clear bounce back from that level, even though we had this banking sectoral strength previously due to this RBI policy, no change in rate cuts, and the growth predictions as well boosted our market. So let's sort out today's levels. So let's start with the support and resistance key levels for the day. So yesterday's, if we see, you can clearly see that Nifty have given a breakout about the 25,000 psychological level, and almost retested the first resistance R1, which was at 25,100. So let's mark today's key level. So let's start with the support. If I see support is at 24,900 to, I would say, 24,950 also. So this is the first immediate support as of now, because we know that 20-day and a 9-day EMA actually lies in this line. So that's why we considered this nearest point as the an immediate support of Nifty. So followed. So after this, if the second support is at 24,800, followed by 24,750. So 750 also have a speciality. I'll say this is where our 100-day EMA lies. So these levels can be considered. So here you can see I have marked the EMA level. So clearly you can see that at 24,750 the 100-day EMA lies, and nearly at 24,950 and 900 level where the 20-day EMA lies. So I'll just show you a quick look out of it. So if you mark the 20-day DMA, you can see that 2920 and the ninth DMA is nearly at 900. So I consider that 24,900 and 950 level as an immediate support. So let's move on to the resistance part. So if I, for the day, the resistance will be at 25,150 will be the first resistance. Well, let's say it R1 at 25,150, and R2 is at 25,250. So let's consider one more resistance. So it will be at 25,400 level. So these are the major resistance for the Nifty. So these are the key levels which I find in Nifty for the day or of this coming few 3 days of the market. So let's zone this Nifty like we did yesterday with respect to the bullish zone and range bound. If Nifty stays in a range bound or in bearish mode, let's zone this out with respect to the resistance and support. So let's see. So for this, I have considered the pivot line which lies at, let's see, pivot point which is lying at 25,000 to like 25,050. Let's say this is a pivot point. So with respect to this only, I just uh, got up this with this support and resistance. So let's consider the bias for the day. So if Nifty is staying bullish for the day, let's say, let's mark the points bullish. So if Nifty is staying above the pivot point, which is of 25,000 and 2550, so let's say that 2550k above, like both the first two resistance 25,150 and secondly at R2 25,250. So possibilities of touching this zone is high if Nifty is opening above the pivot point, which I marked here. So if Nifty is holding above this level, so I have a strong feeling that these two levels are gonna get tested. So these are the bullish zone for the Nifty. So let's have a look at what if Nifty stays range bound. Let me, so give me 1 second, guys. I'll just take my charger 1 second. A little bit of charging trouble. So as you can see, I have just marked the uh, bullish zone of Nifty. So let's mark the range bound zone of Nifty if it is staying within the range. So let's say that, so Nifty staying range bound. So if, so the first resistance we considered is at 24,900 and 950 level. So let's keep it as the base. So as long as Nifty is staying in between 24,900 to the first resistance, which is at 25,150. So let's consider this as the range bound zone. Nifty will be consolidating in between this zone if it stays range bound without any strength of this recent bank Nifty sectoral push. So this is the range bound zone. If Nifty stays range bound, this will be the levels which is at 24,900 to the first resistance, which is 25,150. So let's have a quick look at the bearish zone as well. The chances are pretty low as the present strength of bank Nifty, but still let's consider this zone. So a break below this 900 support can lead Nifty to the first and second support respectively. So the first one will be 24,800. Oh, let's mark the 750 level only. So this is the bearish zone, like minimum range for the day actually. So if Nifty breaks below this 24,900 today, and if it is not reclaiming this the 25,000 psychological level, let's say, let's consider it, the pivot point of itself. So 25,000 is a psychological level. So if it is breaking below this 24,900 and not sustaining about this level within the day, then we can consider this bearish bias zone. So until and unless there is no chance that Nifty coming below these levels 24,900, which is the first S1 support, and if Nifty is staying in a range bound way, then definitely it will be in between 24,900 and up to the first resistance, which is 25,150. So you can clearly see the bullish zone, as well as if Nifty staying about the pivot point, which is at this 25,000 with a higher volume, then definitely these two levels are going to be tested. So let's add RSI as well for a quick note. Let's think RSI. Oh, RSI is already here. So you can see that the RSI 14 actually came above the SMA 14 level, and it is at not trading, it is at 55, and which is clearly a neutral node as of now. But as you can see, it bounced back from 38 with that banking sectoral RB policy push to the Nifty index. So it gave that boost above all 3 days consecutively. It is showing a good movement. So you can clearly see that the RSI is above 50 level. So this will continue if any other factors or global cues affecting our Indian market. Definitely going to continue on this bullish trend. So let's move on to the bank Nifty actually. Nifty bank. So these are the yesterday's level zones we have marked. Let's clear it out. You can see the levels and its breakouts over here. It actually retested not retested, it tested the levels which we marked yesterday on the bullish zone. The first one was at 56 100, so it actually closed above that itself. So the bullish trend to be continued as of my view. So let's clear this zone out. So let's have a quick look at what all levels Bank Nifty can bring today. So let's mark down the support and resistance of Bank Nifty. So let's mark it with the PP pivot point. I consider the pivot point at 56,000. 56,000 can be considered as the pivot point. And with respect to the support, I will start with 55,800 as support. 55,800 is the S1. So let's mark it as S1. S1 is at 55,800, and S2 is at 55,600. So it is a pretty close range for Bank Nifty. So let's consider one more level, S3, which is at 55,400. 55,400. So with respect to the resistance, oh, R1 56,300 I consider as the first resistance, and on the second node R2 will be at 56,450, and let's have one more level which can be at 56, yeah, let's consider this level 56,700. 56,700 level will be there. So these are the support and resistance level for Bank Nifty. So let's have a quick sound this out. So on the basis of bullish zone and range bound if bank nifty says range bound and on a bearish note also. So let's zone this out first. So all the zoning are particularly done with respect to the pivot point which we have set. So if Nifty is staying above this 56,000 pivot point with a good volume with existing trend, uh, if it not getting affected by any other external factors or impactful news, so if it is staying above this 56,000 pivot point with a good volume like yesterday and day before yesterday, so the next bullish zone levels are to be, let's mark it down, 56 300. So if I don't consider 56 300 as to be a next very next bullish zone, but it still stays within the as the R1 resistance one, but as the bias is already bullish, let's consider the R2 level as the first bullish zone. So if bank nifty is staying above 56,000 with a good volume, and if it is testing 56 300, then definitely R2 and R3 chances are very much higher. So let's consider R2 as the bullish zone. So 56 350. Oh, 5 lakh 56 350, then 56 700. So let's consider this as the bullish zone. So as I said, if it is holding above the pivot point which is 56,000 and tested 56 300 is confirmed with a good volume, then definitely R2 and R3 is going to be tested. So this is my bullish view in bank nifty. So let's have a range bound basis zone as well. So I'll just bullish view I have already marked. So range bound. So if bank nifty is staying on a range bound, so let's consider the first support as the base zone, which is 56 800. You can see it here as we have marked 55 800, and the second zone to be considered as, so I said that I don't consider this as the uh, R1 in the bullish zone. So let's consider this as the range of bank nifty. So why I consider this? Because it's already on a bullish trend actually. So if a breakout above this level 56 300 can strengthen our bullish view on bank nifty again. So there are chances that it can consolidate in this level. You can see that we have experienced that pullback from this level, even if it wasn't news impactful, but these levels can be considered as a sentiment levels in the market. So that's why we consider it a bullish zone only above the R1. So the bullish zone, the range bound zone will be in between 55 850 850 not 800 to first resistance, which is 56 300. So in between this it will be a range bound market. Let's have a quick look at the bearish zone. The chances for a bearish reversal is pretty much less as of now, but still we will zone this out. So a break below 55 800. So then definitely it's gonna be retesting the previous level. So below 55 uh, 800, which is the first resistance. Then S2, the support 2 can be tested, which is at 55 600, 54 600, any 55 600. Let's add one more range. Let's add it in this itself. These can be considered as bank nifty is having good positive sentiment. So any change in that will trigger this longer range in bearish zone. So definitely if it is coming below 55 800, and if it is not reclaiming this pivot point which is at 56,000, then definitely this bearish zone can be retested again. So these are the levels for the bank nifty. So now let's move on to the Sensex part. So same way we have marked Sensex also, zoned out Sensex also yesterday. So you can clearly see that it already in the bullish zone which we marked yesterday. So a breakout above 81,400 was considered as the bullish signal for us. So clearly it have given a breakout and sustained above that. Well, let's have a look at 15-minute. So why it is not changing? Let's reload this. Let's keep that Sensex. There is some trouble with my trading view. So anyway, you can see here that yesterday we considered 81,400 as a bullish line. So clearly you can see here that a breakout have above this level give that positive bullish trend and strengthened our view on the bullish itself. So let's sort this out today also. So let's start with the so let's start with the support and resistance. Let's clear this out for a quick now. So let's start with the PP pivot point, which is I consider at 81,600 is I consider this as a pivot point. No, not only I considered, I calculated the pivot point at 81,600. So let's S1 to be at 81,350. I consider this as the F1 zone, which is near to this level. So the previous resistance was at 81,400. So I consider the 81,350 level as the first support. Then again, moving on to the second support, 80,900. I consider the second support, and we'll have one more support which is at 80. We'll have 8600 level as the third support. So moving on to the resistance part, R1 I find definitely as it is here 82,000 will be the R1 zone. Let's mark it out 82,000, and after that 82,300 I consider as the R2 levels, and one more level we can find out which can be at 82,700 will be the my third resistance. Actually these are the levels for the day. So let's quickly zone this out. So if it is staying about the resistance we have drawn, like the pivot point 81,600, it's definitely gonna retest the level resistance levels, which is 82,000, 82,300, and on the higher note at 82,700. So let's have a bullish bias if it is trading above the PP, which is 81,600, and holds above the high volume and breakout above 82,000. So let's have 82. Let's not consider the first resistance similarly to the bank nifty as a bullish zone. So let's consider the second level 82,300 to be the first test, and 82,700 to be the second one. So I consider this as the bullish zone, and on a sideways or consolidated or range bound zone, let's mark it out again. So range bound is between first resistance and the 82,000 level, similarly to the bank nifty which you have seen. So the first will be 81,350, which is first S1 support, and to 82,000. So I consider this as the range bound level. If it stays range bound, these levels to be there. So why we have a gap here, that this can be an accumulation zone for the further breakout if the similar trend stays. So let's throw zone out the bearish zone as well. So if it breaks below this first support resistance, and definitely the chances are there that it's gonna retest the other levels, which is 8900 and 8600. So why I have this strong feeling is that matlab definitely if it is on a positive sentiments and any change on that with a good volume will trigger traders, and definitely the sentiments will be changing. So possibly a retest can be happening at these levels if these strong levels at 81 300 350 support levels are being broken. So these are the three levels and three zones for the day for Sensex, Nifty, and Bank Nifty. So market will be opening soon. As of now, if Nifty is trading flat, nearly 1310 points on a flat note, so which indicates a flat start. So let's have a confirmation on that with respect to the FIA derivatives data. So I do all these things for a quicker confirmation on that part. So but here we can see that yesterday FIA closed on net bullish actually. So the view on their derivatives part is still bullish continuously for the past 3 days. You can see here the previous data. So today also a neutral to positive, mildly positive start I can expect, even though the gift nifty is trading flat, or but definitely it's going to be having a flat or mildly bullish start, and again it's gonna have that similar trend as of my view. So everyone have a proper risk management and trade with caution for the day, and I wish you a good day to everyone, and let's wind up for the day, and thank you.